Hello, guys, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Crooked Illness. I'm so excited to get into this episode with my wonderful guest, Kristel Nielsen. Kristel is the creator of Your Art, Your Story, a nonprofit organization dedicated to research, advocacy, and education services for families experiencing suicide loss or suicide attempt. I am so excited to have Kristel here with us to share her story and the incredible work she has done and is doing at Your Art, Your Story. So without further ado, welcome Kristel to the podcast.
Thanks, Paris. I am so glad to be here with you today.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you here and to get into this topic and all the amazing, incredible things that you are doing. But before we go ahead and dive into that, I would love if you could tell us some more about you and your story.
Well, sure. So I live in Phoenix, Arizona. My introduction to this world of Your Art, Your Story came because when I was 4 years old, my father died by suicide. And then later in life, my husband died by suicide. And then in 2015, our son died by suicide. So I have experienced suicide loss as a child and also from these different emotional connections as a mother, a wife, and as a child. So I feel that my experience is kind of unique. Also, I'm in my 50s, and so I have experienced changes in the way people look at suicide and talk about suicide throughout the course of my lifetime. And although I think it's still a very difficult topic for people to talk about, I feel that it's time. It's time for us to bring this forward and talk about it so that people like anyone who has experienced the loss of a loved one or a friend or who has attempted can get the support that they need and that people will understand more about them and what their needs are. There's kind of this dark window around suicide, and I'm trying to open it up a little bit so that we can make some progress in this area. I know there's a lot of organizations doing great work and raising awareness in this area, but there still seems to be very few choices for people. Like, say, for example, when my husband died, my son and I were at home, and I tried to find a counselor for him because, for both of us, really, we needed some immediate grief counseling. And I couldn't find anyone for him, Paris.
Wow.
It took weeks before we could get him in to see somebody. And we live in Phoenix, Arizona, which is a big city. And it's difficult to find help. There's so many things that we could talk about in this area. But just to give you a little bit more information about myself. So I have a degree in anthropology from UCLA. I have a master's degree in legal studies from ASU. And I'm currently in nursing school to become an RN.
Oh, congrats. I love that. Amazing. Oh my gosh. Yes.
I'm a lifelong learner. And while I was at ASU, I took part of a entrepreneurial program that they have for students. It's called Venture Doubles. And I had this idea of creating a support group based in art for suicide loss survivors. And I entered a competition at ASU to pitch my idea, like a Shark Tank kind of thing. I had been thinking about this idea for some time. I didn't know whether or not anybody else would be interested in this. And so I felt that this competition was a way for me to kind of test the water and see if there would be community support or interest in this project. And what I found was there was great support. We won our startup funds, and we used that money to create the organization and build our website and begin partnerships with other community organizations. So
That's amazing. I remember you telling me this because you guys, we had a phone call. So this was a while ago. We got on the phone and I got to hear Kristel's story. And she told me this and was talking about, all of these things that she got into and mentioned. And, when she told me about doing that, the kind of like the Shark Tank kind of thing where you pitched your idea to have your art, your story. And I just think it's so incredible and so important what you're doing because like you said, when you were trying to find, a counselor, it took so long. And there's, kind of like that gap that you're really helping to fill with what you're doing. So I thought that was just amazing. Just even getting off the phone with you, I was like, I'm so excited to have her come on here and talk about this because this is such a phenomenal resource that I knew nothing about before we connected. I'm so glad that we got to connect and, talk about this and all of the things that you're doing. So if you could, tell us about, your art, your story. And I think you said it started in 2017, right? 2017.
2018.
Okay.
Yes, so I had the idea. The foundation began in 2017, and actually, I had been thinking about this idea for about a year, 2 years, and I didn't really know what to do with it. This then I get the newspaper and I open the paper. There's an article about an art organization in Casper, Wyoming, where they're having a open studio for suicide survivors. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's the idea I had in mind. And so I called them right away and I talked to their executive director and we connected really deeply. I talked to her about, what did you do? Why did you do it? What's working? What's not working? And she was so helpful. Her name was Diane Haroop at Art 321. And I just want to shout out to her and Dee Lundberg, who facilitated the program at Art 321. They had envisioned what I was thinking also. Art is a way to explore your feelings, right? Art is a way to process your feelings, and art is a way to show other people your feelings. And it's a very relaxing, it can be very therapeutic exercise. I went to I took Diane's advice and I contacted a local artist organization, the Arizona Artists Guild, and Tess Moscow Shearer, the then president, was open to the idea, brought it to their board, and we created a partnership where they provided art studio space. We would bring in groups of suicide loss survivors and attempt survivors to have free art classes, and then we would provide all of the art supplies. My mom would make delicious cookies, and it was just a really fun, casual, easygoing kind of an event. And we decided to register our business as a nonprofit so that we could solicit donations, and we have been really fortunate in the community support that we've received in gifts in kind, art supplies and financial gifts. So it was very scary, Paris. It was very scary to go to a Shark Tank type event and say, hey, I'm a suicide loss survivor. And I
Oh,
think,
yeah.
and it was the first time I had talked about my experiences in public. And I think if there's one thing that I learned from all this is that in my own inner world or my inner vision, I could tend to hold myself back. And I think that comes from trauma. And, now that I'm thinking about this on the spot, it's like the trauma of these experiences, like I don't want to re-traumatize myself and I don't want to traumatize anyone else, like a secondary trauma. But at the same time, I need to share it, and by sharing it, I'm also giving others permission to share their experiences, and it kind of is a way of opening up our hearts and minds to healing. So
Oh, yeah. Yes. I love that. And I really love just how the way that you said that of, being able to use your story, your experiences to be able to open that door for other people and kind of create this place, in the space of people to come together and to participate in these events and have this as a place to really go and do that. Because, like you mentioned before, there wasn't a lot out there that you could find, at the time. And you created this, you put this out there into the world. And, it all started with the idea. You had this idea, like you said, for I think you said for 2 years you were thinking about this, considering what to do. And then you found someone else, you said in Wyoming, who was, Wyoming. You got in contact with them and kind of, got to see, what they did, what pieces worked. And then it kind of was helpful to you in putting this whole thing together and like pitching it. And I really think that's absolutely incredible. Just the level of vulnerability that takes for you to like get in front of people and like and talk about this and present this idea, present this thing that you have created, and to do that and then say, okay, now you wait and see what they think and what they say. And of course, that is very terrifying, to do that and to imagine doing that. But because you did that, you've been able to really do something and create this thing that is so amazing. And right now, I think you were telling me that you guys are here, right, in
Yeah.
Arizona. Okay, perfect. Yeah. And I just love talking about it. I love getting into this because I think it's so just incredible what you're doing with combining art and storytelling and like allowing people to come into the space and do that. I think is so cool. I love it.
So there's a certain type of person that this will be drawn to this. This isn't for everyone.
Oh yeah. Oh
And
yeah. Yeah.
I just want to clarify that our programs are not a substitute for counseling. They're not a substitute for, professional treatment. This is a casual, peer-led, art-based group. And so one of the things that we do is, we get facilitator training, suicide loss facilitator training. We have professional artists who are delivering the art lessons. And the program, the way that it's set up is that it actually has 3 different legs. And this is really important because I want to emphasize this to your listeners. It's not just people coming in and doing art in a room, although that's the big picture. We're doing expression. They're learning technical art skills, and then they're also learning art theory and design. And this is a standalone, one at a time program where people can just hop in the middle whenever and attend as many as they want, and they'll get these benefits from it if they're interested in art making. There's also the aspect of community building. So we basically, we used to meet in person. Now we're meeting on Zoom, right? And we are receiving the art lesson from the professional artist, and then we kind of all work on our stuff. And then towards the end, we're like, hey, what does it look like? What are you making? And we'll go around, and anybody who wants to share can share. And that's really when the fun starts to happen. At least,
Yes.
I mean, I just love seeing what each individual person creates and how it connects to their experience. It's amazing. It really is. And if you would like, I could share some images with you of things that have been created over the past year. And this year, we just created our course schedule for 2021, and there's some really fun things going on.
Yay, that is so awesome. And I would love to see those images. I would love that. And I think I love that you kind of brought up that, the community aspect of that, because I think that is so incredibly important because, of course, I feel like anything that you could put out into this world that can be helpful to people who have experienced, losing a loved one to suicide, something like that, to create something where it's community based where people can. I think that's amazing too, that you're still continuing to do it even through Zoom. That's amazing that you're still, having this and having this place. Cause I think it's just so it's so necessary and so needed and so incredible that you really made this a reality. So I love it so much. And I could sit here all day long and just talk to you guys about how much I love this and just your art, your story, and what she's done and what she's doing and what she put together. But that would just go on and on and on. I can't, be here just going on and on about this. But I do want to ask you too, I think you might have already kind of touched on this a little bit,
Mhm.
but the most important lesson you've learned so far. So, what has that lesson been since creating your art, your story?
Yeah, I think that it would be to not let fear or inexperience hold you back. I hesitated because it's like, I don't know how to start a nonprofit. I don't know how to do this, but um, things like this don't happen on their own, and it wasn't all me anyway. It's by putting the idea out there that makes it possible for other people who also have the same vision to join with me and build this as a group. I mean, this is a group project. It took hundreds of people to put this together and make it a reality. I was scared, but by speaking up, I mean, I was still scared when I was speaking, but when people would come up to me and be like, wow, I can't, I can't believe what you just said. This is what happened to me. And so then it gives them an opportunity to share what happened to them. And something, something like this, and I'm kind of stumbling with my words a little bit because something like this hit me so deeply that it wasn't like I could hide it anyway. And by hiding it and keeping it inside, it just makes it more difficult to cope on a day-to-day basis. It's like by sharing, then other people started to share as well, and then our community just grew that way organically.
Yes. And I think what's so beautiful about that is like what you just said right there is, the fact that you were sharing and being and still even in the process of doing that, having fear and like being afraid, even doing that, you did it, but then kind of like opening that door for other people to, connect with you and come up to you and share with you and tell, share their experiences with you. And maybe people who are listening, maybe they haven't shared ever before. Maybe they felt like they could never do that, or maybe they felt like they don't know how, or they're stuck and they don't know. But what you did allowed something in them to open up to where they really connected with you, and where they really felt something where it will stay with them. And I think that is so important what you said too, and that before getting into that of not letting this fear or the inexperience of not doing this stop you. How you said, of course, I've never done a nonprofit before, I've never done any of these things, and you could have so easily let that stop you from doing it because saying, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know how to put this together, I don't know how to, there's so many things that you could have said, I don't understand how this works, but you did it and even in not knowing what you were doing, you still continued to pursue that and not give up on the process of learning how to make it happen and learning how, and every single day just learning more things, learning new ways of doing things. And I think that's so amazing because it's such a huge part of making this a reality, and really not letting that fear hold you back, because I feel like for a lot of things we can get into, we tend to feel stuck by that fear and stuck in not knowing how to come out of that. But I think the way that you described it was so good and just so easy to connect to and understand by the way that you kind of described that process and the lesson. And that being the biggest lesson you learned, I think, is a huge one, just a huge thing to learn, and be able to overcome that fear and just really do what you're doing. So I mean, you're doing it, so yes.
Yes, we're doing it. So we've been doing the program since 2018, and well, we started 2018, but really it was just December. So 2019, 20, and 21, this is our third year. And I'm really excited about something that we're planning in the future. Can I tell you?
Ooh, what is it? Yes, tell me.
This is an exclusive. Our board has been talking about developing a teen program, and we are making progress in that area. And we have a partner who has a teen program back east, and we are working with them to get something started this year. And I'm really excited about it.
That is incredible. That is amazing. Oh my gosh. And that's happening this year, right? You're working?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm so excited about that. That's going to be so awesome. And so you said you're working on it with another partner, right? From another they're out of state, right?
Yeah, they're out of state, and I hesitate to say anything more.
Oh yeah, you don't need to say yeah, no, but that's amazing. That's so exciting because I was sitting here and I was thinking, I'm like, I'm excited to do this today and to like virtually sit down and record this. And I was like, I want to ask her, about, what's going on and like with the future plans. Like, do you have anything in the works? Like, what's going on? And I think that is amazing. So putting a program together for teens, right? You said for a program. Yeah.
Yeah, just for teens. So one of the things that what I've recognized just by looking at what resources are available is that there is a teen suicide hotline. There are some teen groups, but there's really not a lot of support groups for teens. So we're looking to create something, and I can't even tell you right now what it's going to look like because of the world that we live in. But I would imagine there will be a virtual component and an in-person component, and it will be starting this year. So
That's so exciting. Oh
yeah.
my goodness. I love that. I love that so much. And I know, yeah, especially kind of, with everything's kind of unpredictable, not really knowing, more in person or virtual, but I think that's great, that you're doing that because like you said, you've done the research on this, right? And being able to see that there is not as many support groups available for teens, and like you guys are doing that, and this is in the works and this is happening, and it's wild to think that you said in 2017 you kind of like had the idea, and then 2018 is when it started, and then December of 2018, and then 2019, and then now 2021. Why did I say that? 2021. So yeah, so all the stuff that you've been able to do so far is just amazing. And are you doing right now, is it it's on Zoom, right? Zoom, the classes are on Zoom right now?
Zoom right now. We do a program on the fourth Saturday of every month, and the program lasts about an hour and a half. And yeah, we're continuing to do that. And then in September, our goal is to have another art show. We had one last year. It was called Unspoken Survivor Stories at the iLounge in Phoenix. And then it's also online at the Arizona Artists Guild website. And I can share that with you later so you can see the art virtually online. So my hope is that we will continue our program that we have now every month. We send out free art kits to anyone who wants to participate. We will get the teen program started, and then we'll have another art exhibit in September, which is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. So to coincide with that month, we'll have the art show to raise awareness about suicide.
That is amazing. Oh my gosh, just incredible. Like all the things that you have in the works right now. It must be so exciting, right? To continue, like, I mean, to even start this in the first place and to do all the things you've already done, but then to have, these things that you're working on right now. I mean, that's exciting. Just to know that it's happening and you're doing it, and it's, in the process of, being put together, I think is just so cool.
It's bittersweet, to be honest, because all of this is around something that causes people trauma.
Yes.
Ultimately, my goal would be that we don't have to exist as an organization. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I totally mean what you're saying. Yeah.
But as long as there is a need, we're going to do what we can. We'll do
Oh
what.
yeah. Oh yeah, and I think this is, just a phenomenal resource for anyone who has, lost anyone to suicide, and just spreading suicide awareness and kind of, getting more into this topic, and just making more of these conversations more normalized, and just creating the space for people to come, and just another amazing, incredible resource that's out there and is available. And I always love getting into stuff like this because I feel like every single day we're always learning new things. We're always stumbling across, new resources or new things that we didn't know about. And especially when it comes to, education on suicide prevention, suicide awareness, things like that, I think is so valuable because, I have not done near the amount of research that you have done. I have not. So I don't know, but I don't know to speak to this and say, well, there's not as many things out there available, but you clearly have extensive knowledge on that. So you've put the time and effort into putting this together and creating this space for people, to come in and just be there and to have that community. And I think it's amazing and incredible. And even, with the virtual component and, what you have in the works for teens in that program. And then, just all the stuff that you've, bringing your story into that and really being, and not really being, not being afraid anymore of using that to help other people, because I think it's incredible that you've done that and you've been able to do that, and that you're continuing to do that, I think is amazing. And and just with your nursing program, when are you going to be done with that? That's exciting too.
I'm in an accelerated program, and I'll be finished. I'll have my RN. Well, I will have graduated next May, 2022.
Yes. Well, that's exciting. See, I'm gonna have to write that down. And in May of 2022, I will have to reach out to you and congratulate you, because I think that's absolutely incredible. Because you mentioned, so nursing, you're in the nursing program right now, but you said your master's in legal studies as well, right? And then you told me this already, but what
Yeah,
was it?
anthropology.
Anthropology. Oh my God, look at all the things. And I think that's amazing about you, is that you just continue to want to learn. Like you said, you're a lifelong learner and you love it, and you're applying the knowledge that you're gaining from all this stuff and really putting it into something just phenomenal and incredible. So, I would love to, give the floor back to you again. And, is there anything else you'd love to tell me or get into, when it comes to your art, your story, or anything we haven't touched on in your story that you want to get into that we haven't?
Yeah, I'd kind of like to give you an idea of some of the people who've come to the program, and
Okay. Yeah.
somebody who would attend, what they could expect if they came. So we have people coming of all ages, from 10 years old to 80. We've had generations of families attend, moms and their kids. They've lost a parent, they've lost an auntie, they've lost a sibling. We have had grandmothers come who have lost their grandchild, um, spouses who've lost their spouse. I mean, just any configuration of loss, friends, family, and dear loved ones. When people come, they usually will find somebody in the same situation that they are in is in the group. So there's somebody there to talk to, but they don't have to if they don't want to. And now that we're in a virtual format, people come from all across the country. We have people from Washington, California, North Carolina, Utah, Nevada, Arizona, who have come to our programs. When we have an online program, usually it just starts off with the artist giving some background, showing some examples, like say, for example, on the last class that we had in January was about drawing your pets. And so, we all have our furry friends, right? And so the artist taught us how to create the illusion of fur and how to create texture using pencil and paper. And then people showed their pictures and, told the story about their pet. Some of them, the pet was right there in the room next to them. Some of it was a beloved pet that they had lost. And so it just gives people a chance to share feelings if they feel like it, if they want to. And then you have the rest of your Saturday to do whatever you want. But the idea is that you learn some cool art tips, cool art techniques, and then you can continue to draw, the next month, and then learn something new. On this month, our program is going to be doing a watercolor and ink cityscape. And so kind of like take an image of a city, do the outline, create a watercolor sky. We're going to do some really interesting things with salt and water droplets to create drama. And, every month is a different project.
I love it. I love it so much. And you do these, you said once a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
You said the fourth Saturday.
Yes.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love it so much. And kind of just, that's exciting because I love the way that you combined, art into this. And you talk about expression, you talk about the expression, and then learning the new technical skills that you can kind of apply, you can continue to apply outside of the class, that you've learned, and and then also the most important thing I really think is just the community. And like you said, knowing that, there is probably someone in the room who has like a similar experience, and you could talk to them if you want to, you don't have to, it's completely and entirely up to you. But just having that there, I think, is so meaningful because, I think I can't imagine. I think it would be very difficult to try to find something like that. And you really have put this together. And I think it's amazing too how you highlighted, all of the states that are involved. You talked about Nevada, Arizona, the other all the other places, people coming from all over and attending the programs and the classes and just people of all ages, people of all ages who have had losses and in different kinds of capacities in their life is just incredible. And I'm very excited that I got to have this conversation with you today and that we got to arrange this and set this up to get into this topic because I think anything that is a resource like this, I really love to get into and to talk about and to hear from you. And, really just, I can hear it in your voice, just, how truly passionate you are about this and bringing this to life and just, continuing to do all the incredible work that you are doing. So I just wanted to, thank you, Kristel, for coming out here on Crooked Illness today, sharing your story and sharing this incredible thing that you have brought to life, your art, your story. So yes, tell everyone, where can they find you if they want to get some more information?
So we're on Facebook, Your Art Your Story, and then we also have a website, yourartyourstory.org. And on the website we have our calendar, we have blogs. Actually, one of the things that we did last year is we started to add blog articles. So if any of your listeners out there have an article that they're interested in reading or would like to contribute, they can get in touch with me. I would love to hear from your audience. I'd love to hear and see their artwork. We have a community gallery on our website. We have a resource page. I would love to add your podcast to our resource page.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love that.
And yeah, I think that's you've wrapped it up. You've summed it up.
Yes.
I would like to invite you to come to our art workshops too.
Oh, I would love that. And I would definitely love to be there and love to kind of just to be a part of it. So, that was it, you guys. You heard it, this incredible episode, and go check her out. Go check Kristel out. She is amazing. Her website, what she's doing, is incredible. And I promise you guys will not be disappointed. You will love it. So go check it out. And on that note, I'm going to end the episode here. And thank you guys so much for listening. And thank you so much, Kristel, for coming out and being part of this and doing the episode with me. So bye, guys, and bye, Kristel.
Bye.